So the Donald Trump shutdown continues, and today the fight is about food. Let me read the headline here. Trump administration cannot suspend food aid benefits, U.S. judge rules. And so basically this follows the same pattern we've been seeing all throughout Trump's presidency is basically, hey, how can I burn down America today? How can I find ways to use the military against our own people? How can I start illegal wars? And the list goes on. And then the courts have to step in and be like, whoa, let's not burn down America today. Let's not cut people's food. And Trump be like, okay, fine, I'll find new ways to hurt Americans. But this is where we're at, right? Trump administration cannot suspend food aid benefits. And I'm sure he's going to try to fight it. Like, no, I really want to cut people's food. Day 31 now of the shutdown. FAA delaying flights as government shutdown enters day 31. If you are business traveling right now or traveling to go see family, you guys can let me know in the comments how it is. Evidently, though, there's been a lot of delays, and the way this works, it's all ripple effect, right? One airport delays, one flight gets delayed, and it's you have connecting flights get delayed, and it goes down the line, and then their system just doesn't work, and you're looking at sitting at the airport for an extra hour or so, or maybe even get canceled. And then while all this is going on, people worried about food, worried about getting to where they need to go for business or to see their family. Trump is celebrating bathrooms. I don't know, what's with Republicans and bathrooms? They're always obsessed with bathrooms. You guys can let me know your thoughts. I mean, I don't know what their bathroom obsession is. Trump reveals marble-covered Lincoln bathroom as White House remodels move forward amid shutdown. And this is literally what they're tweeting out today. This is the White House and Trump going, hey, look, I got this new bathroom. I got gold in it. And again, while people are struggling with food, he's tweeting about bathrooms. I don't even know what to say. I mean, just whenever you're like, okay, can the Trump people ever, go any lower? Can Trumpers get any more selfish than Trumpy? And the answer is yes. It just does always tomorrow. Yes, and they're actually tweeting out bathrooms when people are struggling with food. And tomorrow is the deadline when November 1st, when the SNAP benefits basically get cut. And, I know you guys get it in the community. We have an international community, so not everyone's in the USA. And I'm going to give you a comment from Australia. Sherry writes, hi, if any Australian government, again, we're talking about Australia, if any Australian government shut down, they would be sacked and a new election would be held. Sadly, we are watching America implode. And I'll just tell you, I don't think it's just Australia. I think a lot of countries out there, if, people tried to pull the crap that Trump would pull, you just remove him from office, you get a new government in place, and go on as you should. It's the most frustrating thing. And, Elizabeth Warren, Senator Warren was tweeting out this also. She says, while Donald Trump was busy bragging about the new marble in the White House bathroom, a judge ordered him to follow the law so millions of Americans can afford groceries. Any delay means mamas and babies could go hungry because the Trump administration is dragging their feet. And basically, there is emergency money there, just the Trump people don't want to use it. And then they even are deleting. There's the Trump people even deleting words from the website that would indicate that there's money, and that's what the money's for. In case of a shutdown, make sure that people got food. And when you tune over to the Trumpy land, this is what they're doing. They're just tweeting out a bunch of AI meme videos, blaming the Democrats and like making Democrats look like ghosts. This is really what they do. Or I guess this one is the Congress is like a haunted house kind of thing. JD Vance says, can you hear the screaming? Right. So happy Halloween, everyone. And some Republicans aren't necessarily going along. This was on C-SPAN. One Republican says, I love Mike Johnson, but we need to get Congress back. I mean, good luck. Trump is out golfing again, of course. And people can't get to where they need to go. Let me read the description of this. You can see how bad it is right now. The Federal Aviation Administration on Friday delayed flights at airports in Austin, Newark, and Nashville. So that would be like one in the East Coast, one kind of in the middle, actually a couple in the middle, or south and middle, however you want to say it, but Austin, Newark, and Nashville. And then it says here, at least 9 FAA facilities were facing staffing issues on Friday. And if you're not going to get paid, I completely understand if you're not coming to work. I completely understand, right? I know they'll try to tell you you're an essential worker and things, but I also know you have to put food on the table as well. I get that, right? And, maybe you have to do a second job or something else. I totally understand. So you do what makes sense for you and your family. And then Unfortunately, this is just where we're at. And these are the delays, flight delays: 61 minutes at Nashville, 50 minutes in Austin, 101 minutes at Newark. And Aviation Tracking Site said 2,200 U.S. flights have been delayed, 300 canceled. I think that's today. And then before it was like 7,300 delays and 1,250 flights canceled on Thursday. And then right now the fight is over what's going to happen to the SNAP money. So this is what it says. And judge orders Trump administration to release billions in SNAP contingency funds. I think it's like 5.5 billion is what we're talking about, that there could be, money there to, make sure people's okay. Well, not okay, but just make sure people get, what they should get during the shutdown. And then the reason why I said not okay, because it's just, there's a lot of people really struggling. I'll just put it frank. And this was, I guess, Rhode Island. A federal judge in Rhode Island on Friday ordered the Trump administration to release billions of dollars in backup funds for the nation's largest anti-hunger program. Here's a quote then. The shutdown of the government through funding doesn't do away with SNAP. It just does away with the funding of it, okay? There is no doubt, and it is beyond argument, that irreparable harm will begin to occur if it hasn't already occurred in the terror it has caused some people about the availability of funding for food for their family. The irreparable harm will occur if this injunction does not pass and if SNAP benefits are not paid consistent with the mandate from Congress. That's coming from a judge. And then Elizabeth Warren today was also talking about how costs are going to go up on, healthcare. And essentially one of the top reasons why people go broke in USA is because of medical debt. And I think a lot of you know this already. I'll give you a different point of view of what Trumper's saying. Trumper's like, hey, how about we just open up everything and then we'll have a talk about, healthcare and SNAP or whatever. But the Republicans, they keep saying that. They've been, saying this stuff for years and not offer any sort of solution. From Trump's point of view, he has a concepts of a plan or a framework of a concepts of a plan, right? And they just delay. They just be frank, they just want to have tax cuts for their billionaire buddies, and supposedly things will trickle down to you. And that's their goal there. Trump is denying that he wants to attack Venezuela, even though that goes against what he said in the past. I'll read a little bit. It says, President Donald Trump denied that he is considering strikes on Venezuela, right? So when in doubt, attack other countries. But he's saying, no, I'm not doing that. Contradicting a media report. So there's been insiders saying, they're doing that. But contradicting a media report that he'd given approval for such a move, as well as his own past statements. So he himself, right? His own past statements that he's preparing land attacks after a series of boat strikes. So I'll let you guys be the judge of whether or not you think Trump's going to attack Venezuela. But it appears that Venezuela thinks that Trump's going to attack Venezuela, as I guess they're now asking Putin for help. It says Venezuela pleads with Moscow for help as U.S. ramps up pressure. So I guess Venezuela wants missiles, radar, better aircraft, etc., which I completely understand. If Trump is blowing up boats off your coast, and I think, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, because it keeps changing, because it's like every day. I think it's now the U.S. has destroyed maybe 14 boats, and I think we've killed, might be 67 people. And I don't want to play any lightly. I'm just trying to tell you the number, something like that. And they had a session in Congress of explaining a bit what it was, and the Democrats are like, "You didn't tell us anything." It was the whole thing's ridiculous. But this is Trump. This is like, how many ways can Trump try to burn America? That's basically what it ends up being. He is getting called out on it. So I don't want you to think that everyone's just laying down. So this is the governor of California. Well, with Senator Warren, but Gavin Newsom says Trump's nuclear weapons testing order is, quote, weakness masquerading in strength. And yes, you heard that correctly. Trump does indeed want to test nuclear weapons. Now, while all this is going on, I just want to show you kind of what's going on with regular Americans, right? More home purchases are falling through in an uncertain economy. So basically, you think you're going to get a home, but what if you lose your job or something happens and you can't? And just sort of reflection of the whole system. And I know not everyone, in the USA pays attention to this stuff. Like you know something's wrong, or you just think something just happens to you, but you don't realize it's systemic. And that's sort of why we go through everything to see how we're all connected here. So for example, this is what a person says. Trisha DaCosta saved for more than 5 years to buy a home in Nashville, Tennessee. And if you don't know, Nashville's pretty expensive these days, actually. And was thrilled when her offer on a roughly $400,000 three-bedroom house was accepted. And this is actually really low. I'm surprised she found something this low. I saw that and I was like, is that even right? Because I know Nashville is really expensive these days, as I said. Then it says, okay, so they getting ready to buy the home. Then a month before closing earlier this year, she was laid off for her job in public relations. When she learned she lost her job, the first call she made was the real estate agent to pull the offer. Quote, I'm grieving the loss of that house, right? She's 40. It's really frustrating after years of saving and planning. And, you're just going to buy a house and now you're out of a job. A clause in her contract ensured that Acosta got her $4,000 good faith deposit, but she lost the $1,100 she spent on inspections and appraisal fees. More home purchase agreements are being scrapped around the country, reflecting an intensifying standoff between buyers and sellers in a largely stalled housing market. About 15% of agreements were canceled in September, up from 13.6%. So you're getting more cancellations. And you're also going to get, this is again under Trump, tariffs are expected to start showing up more in consumer prices as holiday shopping season starts. And I'm really curious what people are going to be saying when they figure it out. Now, at the moment, many stores had stocked a bunch of stuff before the tariffs, right? So they do have some inventory pre-tariff, but there's going to be some things that are going to be more expensive. And it was interesting. They gave the example here of Christmas tree, fake Christmas trees, right? Artificial Christmas trees that comes from China. And so you may see higher costs on things like that. And this is also something that I just want to point out how we're all connected. You're going to see higher prices on tariffs. And then if the food thing, SNAP gets cut tomorrow is what it looks like it's going to be, a lot of the smaller grocery stores are going to get hurt. So what this was about here, right? If SNAP food aid is cut off, small grocery stores will also feel pain. And then, tomorrow you're going to start to see the costs of, without the ACA, the essentially Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act subsidies. And so this person was saying breast care survivor says ACA cost will be $1,000 plus a month without tax credits. And at this stage in the game, probably the play is people really do need to see that this stuff's real. Like all the stuff that the Trumpers are trying to do is effectively going to make all of your costs go up. And so when Trump's saying that, no tax on tips or no tax on overtime or whatever, wow, you're going to be so rich. Or when Trump tells you, I think it's now last time when he was at Apex saying it was 22 trillion, that they're all rich from the tariffs, right? No, you really said that. It's up to 22 trillion now, according to Trump. But, where's that money, right? Obviously, it's a lie. I keep telling you that. And then you're going to see that your costs are skyrocketing on, say, healthcare, or you're not going to have food on the table because Trump is cutting, things that are supposed to be there for you to protect you. And it's just the list goes on. And then they get you distracted on bathrooms. That's the Republican obsession with bathrooms. And then we're looking at okay, who are we going to send the military on? Because there's going to be a lot of unrest for any number of reasons. And Trump just needs an excuse to declare a police state, essentially is what Trump wants to do. And it's really frustrating. And that's why I just want to show you regular people's experiences here, and know that you're not alone if you can see it. And this affects just regular people. I'll go through it, and many of you will understand this person's situation. It says here's a quote: "If the subsidy continues, my monthly premium will be $453 a month." Okay, not cheap, but better than $1,000. But if the subsidy does not continue, it'll be $1,118 a month. Her out-of-pocket max would jump an additional $600. Right. If the subsidy is not there, having a $1,000 premium per month, that's like closing to a housing cost. It's like not much less than my housing payment. It's as basic as food. We all need to have access, and people should not have to go bankrupt for having a cancer diagnosis or an accident. It just shouldn't be. I just don't understand it, and that's a lot of what people are facing right now in USA. So I'm really sorry to hear, about these situations. I'm sorry to hear about the food thing. I'm sorry that, Trump is the way that he is. I don't know what else to say other than I just try to tell you who these people are. And this right here, I mean, there's any number of things you could look at, but this right here is just an obvious when people are worried about food, worried about healthcare costs, worried about, how can I pay for breast cancer treatment. He's bragging about bathrooms. And I think the stage that we're in is just the reality. In the Trump's party, there's people who are just basically low information. They just watch Fox News all day and they tell you how much you're winning, and it ends up being just like a religious cult for them. It's kind of like, you're starving, you got no electricity, but they keep telling you, oh, but trust in your dear leader, which is obviously ridiculous, but some people go with that. And all you have to do is just literally see what the dear leader is saying, and he's saying, hey, I look at all those awesome bathrooms I have, and then it should be pretty obvious. But it depends on if what's more important to you. For some, if you're just like, I just really want to be racist, I love racism, right? For some people, they're into that. I get that. But I don't think that's going to be the average person. I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, people do want to put food on the table and they do want to take care of the kids, but I could be crazy. Maybe there's, many Americans out there that just want everything to burn, but I just don't think that's the majority. And I think, we'll see it in midterms. It doesn't mean everything's guaranteed, but this is just completely unsustainable, and it's sad to see. So that's my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear yours, and I'll catch you on the next video.